The Gossamer Grove was no walk in the park for Agoloth and his warband. With Jim falling in battle, our wizard travels to the great city of Potentia to reconnect with an old friend named Reggie.
Oh, hi there, Aggie. Long time no see. If I tag along with you, I know a mystic who's got some information on some magical happenings nearby. Let's get moving, buddy. Diddly-doo.
On the north end of the city are the ruins left from recent wars with the Wilds. This is where the mystic resides. She is unpredictable, mysterious, and always up for a competition.
Agoloth the Doomwhisperer. Move through these arcane circles and capture more treasure than I, and you will gain knowledge worthy of a great mage.
Hello folks, and welcome to Dice Chatter. We continue Frostgrave Season 2 with another awesome battle scenario for Agoloth the Doomwhisperer and his warband. An old face appears once again with Frostgrave the Snake Queen. Before we get into the game, we will cover the wizards, their spells, the warband they have hired, the scenario, and any other pre-game shenanigans. So without further ado, let's dive in. Agoloth the Doomwhisperer and his new apprentice, Reggie, are looking to discover the ultimate magical secrets of the realm. Of course, he has his focus on the necromancy school of magic. Agoloth had a tough go in his last encounter, and he is hoping for a better outcome this time around. For Agoloth's warband, we have a brutish barbarian, a treasure hunter, a tracker, Esmeralda the apothecary, a zombie left over from last encounter, and a number of thieves and thugs to round out the list. Frostgrave the Snake Queen and her apprentice Randall are back for one final encounter. These snake folk focus on the soothsayer school of magic and look to manipulate others with spells like suggestion and mind control. It should be interesting to see if they can charm Agoloth and his fighters. For the Snake Queen's warband, we have a bulked up barbarian, a surprisingly large ranger, and a number of thieves and thugs to round out the list. Moving on over to the scenario today, we will actually be diving into a pre-made encounter in the Frostgrave 2nd edition rulebook, The Keep. This scenario looked like a good time and inspired me to create a few terrain pieces, these awesome looking arcane circles. Check out the video link in the corner if you so desire. Back to the scenario though. We will set up the table as usual to reflect a ruined and abandoned section of town, but we also place out 4 awesome looking arcane circles. For the treasures, we place one in the center as per usual and one in each arcane structure. If a fighter ends its movement on one of these arcane discs, they have a chance to be teleported to a neighboring one. Lots and lots of mayhem will occur in this battle. Of course, before we start the game, we have some pre-game rolls for Agoloth. First is Brew Potion. Both spellcasters will try to make a potion, the Elixir of Speed. We need a 16 and an 18 on the die, and both of the spellcasters were unsuccessful. The other spell is Reveal Secret. Again, another 16 and 18, and it seems Agoloth is successful, making their treasures that much more valuable. Now let's move on to turn 1 initiative. And with that strong roll, Frostgrave the Snake Queen will start things off. We begin turn 1 with the Snake Queen herself. She will attempt to cast Fleet Feet on the barbarian snake man beside her. This spell is successful on a 12, and with a natural 1, she will just not cast the spell and take 2 points of damage. Feeling disappointed in herself, she will just scoot up the board behind this stone outcrop. She will turn things over to the barbarian and the 2 thieves nearby her. All of these fighters will make their way up the table, getting closer to the other treasures. One of the thieves also has just enough movement to get to the nearby arcane circle. Will this thief teleport to another one? And with a roll of a 15, she moves 1 circle to the right. She will elect to pick up the treasure as well, staring down Agoloth and his warband at the same time. Agoloth doesn't take kindly to this enemy thief grabbing a treasure. He will move over to get a visual on the thief, and then cast Bones of the Earth on the fighter. He needs an 8 to be successful, and this thief ain't going anywhere. Following the successful spell, a thug will activate and head to the nearby arcane circle. His movement ends on the magical platform, and he ends up teleporting to his left and will be placed right into base contact of the thief. Still having a second action, he will attack the treasure bearer. A +2 to the thief's +1, and no damage occurs. The thief will follow in the thug's footsteps and hope to teleport around the battlefield as well. And with the exact same roll, this thief will also stab into the lone enemy thief. A +3 to a +1 this time with an ally nearby, and the red thief carrying the treasure is absolutely eviscerated. I'm already loving these teleportation circles. The treasure hunter will also copy his allies and make his way to the circle and see where he ends up. With an 11, he teleports to the right side, the circle with the glowing sun, and for his second action, he will then pick up the heavy treasure chest. Moving over to the apprentice phase, Randall the Snake Mage will start things off by attempting to cast Combat Awareness on the Ranger right beside him. The spell is successful on a 14, and a 19 will definitely do. This Ranger now has +1 fight and armor for the remainder of the game. Randall will then just move forward closer to the red ruined building. The Ranger will go next, move right up to Randall, and then fire an arrow into the treasure hunting holding the large chest. We have a +3 to another +3, and the arrow finds its mark, dealing 4 damage into the fighter. And to finish off Randall's apprentice phase, both of these thieves will double move up the board, heading towards other various treasures. Reggie and his new crew of fighters will start things off. The nearby tracker will head up the board and then fire an arrow into the lone thief down the table. A +3 to a +1, and the arrow flies by, dealing no damage to the foe. To follow this attack up, a thief, a zombie, and then finally Reggie himself will move up the table. Reggie, though, will use his second action to cast Leap on his friendly zombie. He needs a 12 on the die, and a 17 is more than enough to fling his fighter forward.
Oh, diddly do there, good buddy.
This will then turn things over to Thutsdulala's soldier phase. The thug carrying the lantern will test the arcane disc in front of her. With that roll, she also teleports to the popular purple arcane circle. She will then decide to attack the thief. A +2 to a +1, and her axe grazes the thief, only dealing a single point of damage. The last soldier will follow suit and head to the teleportation circle. Again, another roll, and on a 10, he appears across the battlefield right near Agoloth in his starting area. This thug will then just turn things over to Agoloth's soldier phase. The barbarian will go first and move to the arcane disc nearby and get right next to the thug. We will see where the barbarian moves to, but with an 18, he stays put. And unlike most barbarians, he decides not to fight the thug. Rather, he picks up the treasure and ends his activation. And to finish off the round, Esmeralda the apothecary will double move up the table, heading towards the treasure hunter who has been damaged, and she will end her turn. Battle round 1 is in the books, and I can already tell this is going to be a wild game. These arcane circles already are creating some interesting outcomes. So let's stop chatting and roll some turn 2 initiative. And this time, the Necromancer gets the first go. Turn 2 begins with the barbarian carrying the treasure near Agoloth. He will swing his battle axe down into his foe. A +3 to a +2, and there is some fight left in this soldier, dealing 5 points of damage. Agoloth himself will then go and decide to move up behind this old gnarly tree and get a visual on his new treasure hunter carrying a treasure. The leap spell will be cast, needing a 10 to be successful, and a 19 is more than enough. This hunter is now flung away from the eyes of Thutsdulala and her warband, which we will be turning over to now. The orange thief will activate first and head to the nearby arcane disc. We once again see where this thief ends up, and of course, with an 11, he flies to the most popular arcane circle. He will then take his second action attacking the nearby brown thief. +1 for both fighters, and Thutsdulala's thief takes a heavy 9 damage from the enemy fighter, almost taking him out. The Snake Queen will activate next, scoot up the table, and then attempt to cast Suggestion on the treasure hunter she barely has a visual on. We will roll the will save at the same time as the spell. She needs a 12 to be successful, and right on the nose. This causes the treasure hunter to drop the treasure, and then he gets pushed 3 inches away from the chest of gold. Oh, this queen has some tricks up her sleeve, or I guess scales. The Snake Barbarian will go next and make his way towards the central treasure, and he unfortunately doesn't have enough movement to climb up this damaged wall, so he will stay put. The turn passes over to Reggie and his nearby fighters. The apprentice will go first and attempt to cast Steal Health on the orange thief nearby who is heavily damaged. Again, we will roll the save and the casting together. The apprentice needs a 12 on the die, and this orange thief was not long for this world, getting his life force sucked from his body. Reggie will then just move up closer to the arcane circle and pass the turn over to the tracker. This sharpshooter will pull an arrow from his quiver and then attack the thief far down the road once again. A +3 to a +1, and this time a big 9 damage to the enemy fighter, almost taking him out. This will then move things over to Randall and his apprentice phase. Unfortunately, both the Ranger and Randall don't have too many options this phase, so they will both elect to just simply move up the table together and get closer to the central treasure and of course Agoloth himself. And here they will end their turn. The soldier phase will begin for Agoloth. The zombie will charge as fast as his dead legs can forward and get into combat range of the heavily damaged thief. Esmeralda will be defensive and get right near Agoloth to be a strong protector she has always been. And the treasure hunter will move last, going back and picking up the treasure he was suggested to drop. The single-handed thief will get up to some mischief and walk onto the popular arcane circle. With that die roll, he teleports to the disc with his barbarian friend and the enemy thug. He will then attack the fighter. A +3 to a +2, and the thief takes 3 damage back from the fighter. Following this, we move back over to the thug who will attack the lone enemy. A +4 to a +2, and a big 6 damage occurs. The thief will take a chance as well and attack the damaged thug. A +3 to a +2, and the dagger finds its mark, taking out the fighter. The treasure will then be picked up, and things will turn over to Thutsdulala's soldier phase. This yellow thief will go first and run as far up the table towards the treasure hunter as he can, hoping to get lucky next round and end his turn there. The thief in combat with the zombie will go next and attack the undead creature. A pair of 1s in this combat, and the zombie is sliced in 2. Nice play by the thief. He will then move to the open teleportation circle, and with that roll, our zombie killer flies to the sun circle close to the treasure hunter. The last activation of the turn goes to the thug between the thief and the barbarian. He elects to attack the thief, being the easier target. A +2 to the thief's +3, and they both land blows. The thief ends up taking 6 damage, bringing him down to 1 HP, while the thug had previously taken a big hit and is removed from the battle. After this bloody sequence, we end Battle Round 2. For once, it seems Agoloth and his warband are actually in good shape. They have taken out various fighters and have a couple treasures ready to leave the battlefield. Can Thutsdulala take the initiative and turn the tide of battle? Let's find out. And with that roll, it seems Agoloth strikes a bit of luck, and he will get the first go. Turn 3 wizard phase. We will tackle a handful of movements first. The barbarian carrying the treasure will head towards the board's edge and make his way off the table, granting one of the 5 treasures to the necromancer. The thief with one arm will make his way up past Agoloth to give the wizard some needed cover, while Esmeralda, the apothecary, well, she'll stay put. For Agoloth, he will reposition himself behind the ruined building and then cast Raise Zombie. This spell is successful on a 10, and it is cast. Just like that, the necromancer's warband is back to full speed with another undead creature. We then move over to Thutsdulala's wizard phase, and unfortunately for her, she is the only member to act this round, and the queen has one more trick up her sleeve. She will scoot up the board and get into visual range of the treasure hunter carrying the treasure, and then attempt to cast Mind Control. We will roll the will save with the spell once again. The snake needs a 12 to be successful, and she is, but the will save on the hunter was too strong, fizzling out the incantation. Moving over to Reggie in the apprentice phase, all 4 of these warband members either move off the table or make their way up the board. Agoloth has victory in sight. Let's hope he can hold on and that Randall doesn't have something to say about it. Randall and his nearby ranger are the last hope for Thutsdulala. The ranger will go first, moving up these stairs, attempting to get to high ground. I decided to consider the edge of the arcane circle here part of the teleportation disc, so we will roll to see if the ranger flies around the battlefield. And unfortunately, the ranger moves, but in this new location, there is still enough room to get an arrow off at the treasure hunter. A +3 to the hunter's +7 due to the heavy cover, and it was a long shot. The arrow whizzes by the enemy fighter. Randall is last to go, and he will move around the sun circle and just get in view of the treasure hunter. He will attempt to cast Mind Control on the fighter once again. He needs a 14 on the die, and for the will save to be lower, and this hunter has a mind of steel. Thutztulala's options have been vanquished as the soldier phase begins. The treasure hunter has enough movement to take the treasure off the table, giving Agoloth 3 total treasures out of the 5, successfully completing the Snake Queen's challenge.
I have completed your task and collected these treasures. I will keep the prizes and gain your knowledge at once.
Of course, my victorious mage. In Castell, a town not far from here, resides a new terror. Portals have opened, and only those foolish enough to enter will gain the ultimate power.
As Agoloth and his warband travel to Castell, they go through their treasure and bolster their abilities. During the battle, Agoloth and Reggie proved good companions as they managed to bolster their fight stat by 1 and make the leap spell easier to cast. Agoloth also took the time to learn the grimoire Spell Eater to have in future battles. For treasure, the warband gathered up a total of 140 gold crowns, a spell scroll of Control Animal, and the magical item a Ring of Teleportation. With much coin in their coffers, they will purchase a giant cauldron to make Brew Potion easier to cast in the future. There you have it, folks, another Frostgrave battle report in the books. For once, it seems Agoloth had an easier time in this battle, and the arcane circles definitely worked a lot in his favor. Let me know what you thought of the video, and check out the Patreon if you'd like to support my work financially. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the other socials. I want to thank you all for watching, and of course, happy gaming.